enraptured. Here. Is Mars, 71st class, second to last class of 72. There will be 3 classes in one. First class. Human geometry, binary in divine pattern, divine architecture. Second class. With the Creator on a cosmic odyssey to the depths of the earth. Third class, the Creator speaks through fruits, smell, anatomy, and color. The goal of these 3 classes, actually, not these 3 I just mentioned, but classes 69, 70, and 71, is for us to understand once and for all the original sacred geometry, with the aim of never seeing nature, the human body, the universe, all things the same way again. The churches say that the devil copies, imitates God. Have you heard this from the churches or not?
A lot.
It's often said that the devil is always imitating God. Then the Antichrist will be so similar that, if possible, he will deceive the chosen ones. Then comes the issue of the tares, which they don't even know what tares are. They think tares are a kind of wheat that looks similar. All of this is wrong. What? Who is the devil?
Man.
The number 2, write it down, is creation. But what about creation starting from 1? Like Eve came from Adam. In the metaphor, Eve comes from Adam. So you put it there, Eve is 2 and Adam is 1. So God is 0. Adam is 1. Eve is 2. 1 comes from the other. What is the evolution of the other? Isn't that right?
That's right.
So man came from God, woman came from man. It's cellular division, material, and creation. But still, there isn't morpho, because they are 2 straight lines, without a defined shape, without geometry. What's missing? What? To have morpho? Morphology. The offspring, the children, to have formation? Triangular. It's only with the tripod that we have security. So there's still 7 missing. Abel is still missing. Cain is still missing. The 3 is the beginning of morphology, the construction of models, of patterns. So what is the 3? You talk about the triangle, the triangle, the triangle, but in terms of sacred geometry, the triangle is the morphology, the principle of the construction of models, the delta everywhere. That's why we keep saying delta, delta, dalat, dalat, the geometry of creation. We could also say it like this: the 1 is the uncreation. The 2 is the creation of the 1 that divided into 2. And the 3 is the formation. So why is the triangle so important? Because the triangle is the formation. That's why the 3 is so important, because the 3 is the beginning of the formation. It's only with 3 that you can say family. This here is a divine pattern, repeated in the human pattern, as Paul said. As Paul said in his teaching to the Hebrews, copy of the immaterial things. Where is the reality? Where is the reality? In the ethereal things. Reveal. The immaterial is a copy. When I say copy, I mean inspired by the cosmology of God. 2, 1, sorry. Excuse me. Matter copies the immaterial. 2, man and matter copies matter, which is already in itself a copy of the immaterial. In other words, the world we live in is a copy It is inspired by the reality that exists, which we have not yet seen. And we humans create, co-create on top of the creation that God made. Interesting, isn't it? So we create upon. And anyone who comes to create upon. So we are having the problem with this music. Will it go down to the ABC? I will record this in lesson 71, which is very interesting. Then people say, this music is a plagiarism of another song that our dear Clarice will sing for us now. Clarice, please sing it for us.
No, it's the well-known song, A Sirahi from Ragatanga.
Sirahi. But then we also made a parody, which Juniel hasn't recorded with Julio yet, which is If I Made a Mistake. Because there are some people out there, full of ego in the X, who when they make a mistake, instead of apologizing and really correcting their mistake, they say, if I made a mistake. So we're going to do the parody of If I Made a Mistake.
If I made a mistake, that's it.
It turns out they're saying that the going down to go down. It's inspired by the song SCUA Ray. And SCUA Ray is also inspired by another Spanish one, which didn't work out. And that other Spanish one is actually inspired by one from 1950. And if we trace it back, we'll end up in Egypt. And in Egypt, we'll end up with Adam and Eve. And with Adam and Eve, we'll end up with God.
It's an infinite root.
Do you understand? That's what I'm saying. The one is the beginning of everything. A Genesis. The two is when it was subdivided from. What is binary standard? Binary is dual. It's the name for dual. The one is Bakiter. Desire, prayer idea, inspiration. Bitu is your journey through the Sephiroth along the tree. You mention Kabbalah and people get scared. Or then there are those who love this subject and only want that. Both are wrong. Kabbalah is simply the tree. The Bible doesn't talk about Kabbalah. The Bible talks about Kabbalah. Every time it talks about a tree. In life, it's Kabbalah. What is a tree? Kabbalah. What are fruits? Are they little fruits? Are they apples? Are they pears? And the is? No. Fruits. Saphiras. That is, they are lights. It's the way a person should behave. Everything we do, everything we are, is within the Sephiroth. Look, in the macrocosm, we have the Earth residing in the solar system. The solar system in the Milky Way in the galaxy, and the galaxy in the universe. Isn't it a circle within another circle? In the microcosm, copying the immaterial. Look at the copy of the immaterial. You have a drawer, a safe or a suitcase. I don't know if you have one. What is your most intimate part? For some, it will be a folder on the computer. For others, it will be a drawer. For others, it will be a safe. And for others, it will be a suitcase. And maybe it's just the wardrobe. And maybe it's just your own room, which is inside a room, or the room inside a house, the house inside a block, and the block inside the neighborhood of the city of the state of the nation, and the nation of the continent, and the continent of the planet. Isn't that right? I'm almost singing this song. At home, there was a cat. At home, there was a cat. Then we look up to the gas station, gasoline, diesel, and ethanol. Isn't that right? Isn't it signed even in the fuel option? Couldn't there be four? Oh, there's natural gas, but natural gas is rare, huh? And now the electric car? The electric car doesn't come to be an option. It's going to come to replace everything. We dress with a sweater, shirt, pants, and shoes or flip-flops. So I have a sweater, I have pants, and I have shoes, yes or no? Brie. And why? Because one shortens. Who deltas? I have a body. I have legs to go, to move around, and I have feet. That's it. There's no undoing it. It's the system. Even when we die, it's a corpse, a coffin, and a grave. Or even if it's cremation, it will end up on the table. It will be three the same, isn't it? Even when the car breaks down, what do we use? A delta as a global human standard to signal. By the way, let's agree that people didn't take driving lessons because whenever a car breaks down on the street, the triangle is very close to the car. And people don't know that you have to take one step for each kilometer per hour of the avenue. So if it's 100 per hour, it's 100 steps, and then place the triangle. The guys place the triangle 20 meters away. When you see the triangle, the car is already on top of you, still in the curve. For God's sake, that's why there are these accidents. Then it's no use, right, my son? The business hierarchy, owner, manager, and supervisor. If there's no supervisor, then an employee. If it's an owner, in colloquial terms, it's an owner, a manager who gets scolded and does the scolding, and the employees. Most of the time, there are 3 secretaries, 3 deputies, and 3 treasurers. Most of the time, the management of a large company is like this, even including governments. Judicial process, 2 or 3 witnesses and 3 judicial instances. Isn't it? You have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Isn't that right? The pattern of memorization and hypnosis is 3. The pattern of memorization and hypnosis is 3. You date, get engaged, and marry. Look, this people. Then people have a problem with my ring. People have a problem with the X. Leave the system. All Freemasonry, Freemasonry. So, God is a Mason. You date, get engaged, and marry. And even those lost in freedom, nowadays, in the new relationship system, they end up marrying and separating. Because, even today, right? But isn't it? It's true, because today the behavior is I'm not going to date anymore, not going to marry anymore. They want to get married, even if it's just to take a picture for a week and then separate. So it's they date, marry, and separate. The bathroom, shower, toilet, and sink. Isn't that essential? What is essential in a bathroom? Your bathroom can have a lot of things, but the main thing is to take a shower, a place to put things, to evacuate, to urinate, and the sink to wash hands. Isn't that it? Look at that imperfection. No, I want to undo the bathroom and the history of the bathroom. I want to create a new bathroom. My son, you're going to create a new bathroom based on the bathroom that has always existed. A place where we take care of teeth, nails, and hair. Professor, I take care of my eyebrows. I take care of my beard. No, you're not understanding. Nails grow. Hair grows. And teeth need care. These 3 inevitably need care. Eyebrows you can choose to care for or not. Beard, yes or no. Other things, yes or no. Now, don't take care of your teeth, nails, and hair and see what happens. Isn't it? To touch the touch screen or with the mouse, you do this 2 or 3 times for specific functions. Everything that has a specific function in computing is based on God's pattern. God's pattern is 3, human pattern. 3, my child. So you're there, you're going to click twice, click 3 times, hold 3 times on the screen. You use a sheet, a duvet, and a blanket, or something close to that. You enter the wrong password 3 times, it gets lock. Did it warn you if you make another mistake? Who hasn't gone through this in life, right? Who hasn't? You wear underwear, underclothes, and outerwear. Yes or no? Yes. And Toddy, who I don't know if she'll be at the meeting in Porto Alegre, mentioned the kitchen, sink, stove, refrigerator. So, if you think about the kitchen, we inevitably have something to cool, which is the refrigerator. There might be a freezer or not, but the refrigerator is a must. A stove is for heating. You see the duality, heating and cooling. And the third is for washing food and utensils. So, you all are helping me, like Toddy, to make the program, which you won't stop anymore. You won't stop anymore. And what I'm showing you is something that the teacher, oh, how simple this class is. Simple? Not at all. Do you know who knows this? No one. People don't realize. They're all fools in the Truman Show. Speed. They are the executive, legislative, and university powers. I said that. Your makeup box, your bag, your hat. Look all around you and notice the divine human binary pattern. Why do I say divine human? Because it's this pattern. Is that it?
Yeah, you have foreplay trans, and then you take a shower.
My God, you came here to do this, Barbara.
Huh? But is it a delta?
Do you really want to have these things recorded forever in lesson 71?
It's better than the cookie.
You have a face towel, a bath towel, and toilet paper. You put the food in your mouth, chew and swallow. And then you swallow, digest, and evacuate. Isn't it amazing? You swallow, digest. It's a trinitarian process, a tripartite process. You wear flip-flops, shoes, or sneakers. Look how interesting, even the types, because look how interesting if we think about behavior. Social, human, and life. 4. When do I wear flip-flops? Speak quickly on the microphone.
When going to take a shower at the beach.
To feel more comfortable. When do I wear shoes?
To work.
Executive matters. When do I wear sneakers?
Sports.
Look how interesting. Do you see? Why create flip-flops, shoes, and sneakers? Because they are 3 moments of our life. They are moments. They are part of our existence. Look how interesting. Pacifier, baby bottle, and some inseparable toy or item. I had my scent, the katufa, when I was a child. I wouldn't let go. My mother says I wouldn't let go of the little clock, the nudge. A child has the pacifier, the baby bottle, and something they grab onto that they hold and won't let go of. I don't know. What, right? Does Dobby have something he grabs and won't let go of or not? Did he have one?
What was it?
Did he have a little toy? A rattle? A couple hugs, kisses, and has relations. But if it's not a couple, you breathe with hands, hug, and some kiss, I mean. There are various types of hugs, various types of kisses, but you have a greeting in human relations there with the hand, hug, and kiss. I mean 3 forms of approach, right? All sports, if we were to talk about it, yellow card, red card, a yellow card. 2 yellow cards, and the third is red. The way to referee the game, the rules of basketball, volleyball, soccer, the penalties, areas, scoring, all signed in a human binary standard. It's incredible. Until recently, soccer could only have 3 substitutions. 3 substitutions, exactly. 3 substitutions. Who decided that? Why is that better? Why not? 4. In electricity, we have single phase, 2 phase, and 3 phase. CPU, mouse, and keyboard. CPU, mouse, keyboard, and monitor. For those who edit video and audio, then editing. Equalization and mastering. We are going to pay a fortune to do that at the symphony. Debit, credit, and balance. To do a basic financial analysis, a new company emerged competing with Nubank. She can't just say, I'm going to do it differently. There's no way to do it differently. She will have to provide debit, credit, and balance. It's the basis of standard financial information. In the Olympics, you have gold, silver, and bronze. What is a podium made of? 3 positions and 3 trophies. There's no use. What is a Formula 1 podium made of? Or whatever it is, it's 3 positions. There's no use, isn't it? Even Winston there, in the area he works, the invoice. Speak up, Winston, quickly on the microphone. Invoice, transport knowledge, and transport manifest. Exactly the 3 primary colors, right? Red, green, blue. Mattress, pillow, and the human to lie down. It's intimate, social, and service. Childhood, youth, and old age. That's it. Harmony. We've already talked about this here in the music class. Some things we've already mentioned. But keep watching, you see? Professor, I'm tired of delta. You're not tired of delta. Delta is there even when you wrote I'm tired of delta. Because when you wrote I'm tired of delta, you wrote I'm tired of delta. You wrote 3 words. So you're not realizing that even when you criticize, it's 3. Professor, hot, cold, and warm. Which is, yeah, hot, cold, and warm. Which professor? That was a good one. Airplane. I thought it was just one. Kerosene. And QAV, GV, and SA. You see? Kerosene, gasoline, and sustainable fuel. Yeah, you see? The price of an asset in the financial market, it goes up, or it goes down, or it stays sideways. Sideways? Exactly, sideways. Then Marcelo remembered Lollapalooza, the Masons there with Doritos. 3 components in a rock band. 3 positions on the podium that I mentioned a little while ago. Look, clutch, brake, and accelerator. Perfect. Clutch. It's 3 pedals. You're in a car that's not automatic. You got in there. What's up? It's 3 pedals. It's incredible. It's incredible. Let's agree that it's. My car is automatic, but it's the same thing, which is accelerator, brake, and foot brake. The brake isn't a handbrake. It's a foot brake. I mean, isn't it the same? It's the same thing. Our social behavior now. I talked about binary patterns and we ended up here. We gave it because otherwise we won't stop anymore. I could talk about this microphone. I could talk about this screen. I could talk about the audience. I could talk. All you see, everything is 3. Okay, but now we're going to talk about human social behavior. You'll see that it will go deeper. Shall we go deeper? Now let's go deeper. Look at how beautiful it is, what I talk about in Kabbalah. The spirit of God, the image of God, how we are under this, and everything we do, where we are going, we are acting within this. 3, things never come back. The arrow, shot, the word spoken, and the missed opportunity. Isn't it amazing? Even the behavior of existence. It's not even human social. I said human social, but it goes beyond human social. It's the life itself as it is. An arrow that goes and doesn't return, a word that goes and doesn't return, an opportunity that comes, doesn't return anymore. Isn't it amazing? Nietzsche, the atheist, said the following, and man in his ego created God, in his own image and likeness. Look at that, really. The reactionary atheist spoke a truth to us who understand who God is and who the devil is. We who understand Nietzsche, to not fall into nihilism. Who are the people that counter skepticism? And then they think that reactionaries shouldn't do anything anymore. They remain still. Wisdom says, in doubt you, stop. But you don't stay still, right? My son? Don't stay still. Staying still is foolishness. Do you think staying still is wise? Is staying still in a place where you have doubt wise? No. Stopping when you're not sure is wise. Now, staying still is foolishness.
It's just the yellow light, right?
It's just the yellow light, and the yellow light ends, right? It always ends. Now, look at this phrase and see if it's not true. Man created God in his own image. Isn't that what religions have done? They created a God, each denomination made their God in their own image and likeness. So isn't it man who imitates God? Isn't it man who is the devil himself, who came to kill, steal, and destroy the human ego? The 3 most difficult things in the world: keeping a secret, forgiving an offense, and making the most of time. Difficult things, huh? 3 things must be done by a judge. Listen carefully, consider soberly, and decide impartially. 3 things please everyone: kindness, respect, and humility. 3 significant moments in life: childhood, love, and illness. If you do a replay, a hologram of your life, you will remember childhood, which is what marks life the most, where people have traumas, childhood traumas. Wow. Which is the moment when a person opens up to love and illnesses. Buddha said, 3 things cannot be hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. You can't hide the truth for long, which is the Brazilian saying, a lie has short legs. And it really does. Even this video lesson, now that you are watching 71, the penultimate class of University X, you can like, dislike, or share. Isn't it true? Up, down, and share. In this video, you can play pause, or next, which means switch to the next video. I can watch, I can pause, or I can simply switch to another video. Shall we go on a cosmic odyssey to the depths of the Earth? Our planet works in absorption, diffusion, and reflection. Look how beautiful the light that comes to us. The 7 colors, which are actually one, it's plural, Elohim, 7, and it's unique and radiates as one. Everything is white. And at the same time, there are 7 colors. The brightness, light, dry air, which is diffusion. The best color of diffusion is blue, because it's the fastest wave color. That's why it's the color we see the most among the 7. Why is almost all the sea blue? The sky blue? Is the sky blue? No, the sky is not blue. Is the sea blue? No, the sea is not blue. Why is it blue? Because it's the color we see the most, due to the diffusion of light. The color that best suits diffusion is blue. Humidity and mist produce the reddish color of the sunset. Isn't it beautiful to see the sunset? And the sunrise? Why are the sunrise and sunset both so wonderful? Because of that reddish-orange hue, which is the slower wavelength that catches our attention more. And if we talk about reflection, it's the white that blinds us when you look directly at the sun. The white, which is the sum total of the colors. The 7 layers of the earth are signed: crust, terrestrial, mantle, core, lithosphere, asthenosphere, outer core, and inner core. So, the earth is a dome that is 7 signed layers. 7 layers of the earth as well, down to its center. And there are 3 rocks, 3 types of rock: Earth's crust, igneous, and magma. And in the igneous are the crystals, the precious stones that remain sedimented, hidden. That's why they are so valuable. Then comes the magma, which is pure fire, aquatic delta. Did you know that every river always ends in a delta? Because every river follows its course, from the delta up in the mountains to the delta down below, carrying out the process of sedimentation of materials. And it is exactly this path of the waters, the sedimentation of materials, that begins up there. In the mountain, which is a delta, it forms an island, which is the delta sedimentation. So every river has a delta. In other words, it rains. Water accumulates, the water flows down, carrying with it small pieces of the mountain. These pieces sediment, forming an island down below, a triangle. And this triangle is the river's delta, the waterfall's delta. It's incredible. The ice mass also undergoes 3 processes: melting, evaporation, and sublimation. Imagine if we were to delve deeper into this here. It's not about ideas, it's about giving you a vision. This isn't a geography, history, or social studies class like in schools to just stay there. Subject 1, 2, 3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. The idea here isn't gnosis nor logos. It's Sophia. To make you see, to open your vision, to see the world as it was made, how it works. But the wind is too. When the wind pushes particles and makes them jump from the ground, it also forms deltas, which are the tailwinds. And believe it or not, there are 7 types of dunes. Did you know that? No, look at this. The wind pushes the particles. Water pushes the particles and makes a river delta. The wind pushes the particles and makes a delta, the dune. Isn't it amazing? The wind makes a triangle and the water makes a triangle with its movement over years of erosion of sedimentation. The primary consumers, grasshoppers, secondary, frogs, tertiary, snakes. So the frog eats the grasshopper and the snake eats the frog. And today I even saw a video about the importance of foxes. There are people who kill foxes. The foxes eat the snakes. Did you know that? What controls? If you want to control snakes on your property, look at no fear foxes. And people go there and harm the foxes. Foxes are the great controllers of snakes. See? In the food chain pyramid, if we were to talk about the food chain here, it would go far. And see that wild capitalism, which is the global economic system, is made of a food chain. It's made of Maslow's pyramid. Who remembers the class? Maslow's pyramid. In the other class, God speaks through fruits and animals. Let's start with the pomegranate. The color and shape of the pomegranate is identical to the mother's womb. Why did God make a fruit identical to the maternal womb? What is he saying? What is God's message to women mothers that they need to eat pomegranate? When in times of fertilization, it is reproduction. See? It's not to eat pomegranate if you don't want to have a child, but it is to eat pomegranate if you are wanting to have and are already having breastfeeding and so on. Some Masonic lodges, to give you an idea, exactly speaking of obelisk and dome, speaking of spiritual fertility, because there exists spiritual fertilization, the male and female duality, polarity. The cosmological question of understanding this, they place 3 pomegranates in the Masonic lodge. Did you know that? The pomegranate never foreshadowed the 613 commandments. An eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, but rather your health, original sexuality, and freedom. Because the pomegranate is not legalistic. What am I saying with this? That the pomegranate has 613 seeds. And the rabbis love this because they use the pomegranate as proof that the Torah should have. It was a prophecy that the Torah would have 613 dogmas. But actually, you know, the pomegranate is not legalistic. That's good. The anatomy of the tomato reveals what the Creator is saying. Eat tomatoes, for they will help you with heart issues, cardiac problems. And I could go on. I could show things here that we here sometimes are not so. Believers. It takes a little while to become a believer. There are some incredible things. I've already shown you about the persimmon, coffee persimmon. When you open the seed of the coffee persimmon, you find either a spoon, a fork, or a knife. Folks, for the love of God, 6,000 years ago, God made the persimmon, or more than that. Then you take the persimmon, remove the seed, you open the seed. When you open the seed, what's inside the persimmon? Either a knife or a spoon. A fork? How is that possible, folks? If the fork, knife, and spoon were only made by humans after 2, 3, 4,000 years. I mean, that's really incredible, right? And speaking of walnuts, they have the shape of your dual brain because they are good for your mind. I always eat walnuts. Lena always set them aside for me here. Every day I eat walnuts. Every day. 4, 5, 6, 7. Every day. Because they are for the brain. You who means to think a lot, philosophize, do calculations, is stressed, has dyslexia, is delayed, has a delay, brain not doing well, mind not doing well, psychological not doing well. Walnuts, celery, celeriac are white foods. And why are they white? Because they are for the bones. The anatomy of the avocado, which takes 9 months to produce. Why does it take 9 months? What is God saying? And look at its shape. Carrying a pit inside, the pit is like a mother's belly. What is it saying? Something of wisdom to mothers, just like the pomegranate. Onions make you cry, don't they? But why? Is it for no reason? What is God saying? The Creator is saying, onions purify the cells, eliminating toxins through tears. So, is there anyone out there who needs? Did you know? The onion is telling us that it is the psychological couch. Instead of going to a psychologist, venting to a friend who isn't really a friend and won't be able to help you at all, do this. Go cry on the onion. It cleans all the toxins.
And the professor always says that white foods are good for immunity, as they are the body's white blood cells.
We'll get there. We'll get there. The Creator is saying, appreciate bananas because they look like a smiling man. Smile. Why is it an emoji? Have you seen the banana? Place it here on the side. Why? Besides potassium, they bring us well-being, which the Bible calls blessedness, joy, because all of this is hormonal. It has tryptophan, a protein found in bananas that converts into the hormone serotonin, the happiness hormone. By doing so, among God's 72 hormones, you overcome your hormone demons. So when you're feeling sad, what you do is eat a banana. Oh, I'm going to exercise and produce serotonin too. But mainly, if you want, in a moment of sadness, to improve your mood, a banana. The banana produces serotonin. Reveal. That's it, okay? Need a couch? Peel an onion. A wicked combination for women. This revelation is very important. Huh? Whoever listens to me will do well in life, huh? Never mix this diabolical trio, ladies, sugar, birth control, and cigarettes. You might say, I don't smoke, but birth control and sugar. The trilogy of demons to alter the female world. This has been scientifically proven for over 50 years. Woman, have you been like this lately? Very unstable, agitated, complicated. You may or may not notice, but you'll start noticing from today. Know that. It's this mix of birth control, sugar, and cigarettes. It messes with women in such a way. I'm serious. Oh, not men, right? Not men, right, Professor Arco? Not men, right? See? Already irritated. Already irritated. See? Why? The man has to cut out that sugar and cut out that birth control. There. Will I get pregnant? Do you want me to get pregnant? No, there are ways. There. Let's go. Shall we learn more? Now let's see. Let's return to the binary pattern of men based on the things God made in constructions. Look at this wonder. It's a little veil. Look at this. This building was based on the onion. This building on the tomato. Look at this. On corn. Look at the onion. Look at the cucumber. So does man create from himself? Look at the kiwi. Cabbage. Tomato again. Collect. See? We could keep looking at this for a long time. Right. So, nothing is created from something that man has. The copyrights. Man does not have the copyrights. Man copies everything that God made. And to finish this wonderful lesson, giving you inspiration, light, and vision, let's go back to the meanings. You people know, right? This goes far beyond what you saw there with your aunt, with your grandmother. The book of Ace, this goes far beyond. Shall we go? Far beyond. Let's gather all the colors here to inspire us. Yellow and orange. What do we have in yellow and orange? I'll reduce it here because this site always puts A. Marketing. Advertisement right in front, huh?
Professor, they say the goal was inspired by the teddy bear, and The Maria is inspired by the snake, the cobra.
And it really is, it is. I always, Marx, I looked at him and said, man, what a catfish face he has. Have you ever noticed that the Fiat Marx looks like a catfish underwater? And, in fact, everything is really an inspiration. You went to look for the story. Is that it? Here we have, then, the foods. Yellow and orange ones. And what are they good for? Why are they yellow and orange? Because they have beta-carotene. So what is God saying? That they are good for fighting infection, health, hair, and skin. What kind of animals? Carrot, corn, pumpkin, yellow bell pepper, mango, and orange. So yellow is the beta-carotene. The red, what is God saying? Good for the heart, right? Which is guava, watermelon, tomato. Those with heart problems should eat red bell pepper, beetroot, red fruits, watermelon, tomato, guava. Why? Because they contain lycopene, quercetin, ellagic acid, asparagine, and all of this helps with tissue health. Even if you don't have heart problems, it gives a feeling of energy and well-being, relieving stress. So, for those who are stressed, it's the red food. Green foods like broccoli, peas, spinach, kale, okra, lettuce, avocado, kiwi. They also contain beta-carotene, carotenoids. It's the carotenoids that give this green hue with lutein. And then we also have health benefits for the eyes and the reduction of the risk of macular degeneration. So see, what do we want to convey with this? The green here, mainly, is chlorophyll, which is what? Antioxidant, cellular. So you see how there's no way. One day I interviewed here a cafe. Emerson, who is watching me there, and Raimundo, who avoids salad. Emerson told me that he is 50 years old and a few more years. And he has never eaten salad in his life. And I asked, how are you still alive, man? Folks, I'm being serious with you. We need all the colors to have health that truly goes beyond 50. All the colors. A little bit of green. A little bit of red. A little bit of yellow. See? It's the rainbow of nutrition. It's the purple and the brown. What are the purple and the brown? Blueberry, fig, plum, soy, brown rice, lentil, purple grape, cocoa. Here we have the wonder of protecting the heart, increasing vitality, and aiding the functioning of the nervous system. Here they don't mention it, but the last time I recorded the class and now, recording again, it's the purple, which is the synthesis it's linked to. Vitality. The only thing mentioned there was vitality, but it's linked to our immortality. If you want to live longer, they are purple foods because they promote cell renewal. So people who need to free themselves from stretch marks, scars, what else? Body marks, wrinkles, everything related to aging. It won't rejuvenate, but it will delay aging. Purple foods are for vitality. Look how interesting, even in this, purple is part of the synthesis, isn't it? And white foods, folks, are related to immunity. Our protection, mushrooms, bananas, white beans, onions, turnips, cauliflower. Immune system, which are phytochemical compounds. So, a good functioning of the nervous and muscular system. This site doesn't mention it, but we know they are all good for the protection system. So, when a new pandemic comes, which food should we consume? Always the white ones. And what happens with this generation now? Please make it for me without onions. Please make it for me without mushrooms. Please make it for me without garlic. Remove the garlic and remove the onion, please. Is it the smell? All the immunity. How are we going to withstand the epidemics and pandemics that are coming? if you have to keep removing onions? The Jews spent their whole lives eating a lot of onions, and not just eating, making onion paste to apply on wounds. The onion. God is saying something wonderful. When you hold an onion in your hand, besides what I mentioned about crying, the onion and garlic, you notice their smell and see how they are. I know that, in the past, mothers used to make it with milk. One thing that mothers used to get wrong in the past, with all due respect to moms and grandmas, don't be upset with me, you made a big mistake, is making hot milk with sugar and garlic. Because you can't mix milk with sugar, because milk and sugar help beat the infection and not fight it. This mixture of milk and sugar doesn't work to combat the infection. It was a common practice in the past, heating up the milk while the person is there shivering with a fever. No, folks, you can't do that. No sugar and no milk at all, just garlic. It's because they want to make it easier to give it a nice taste. Right. Oh, little child, milk, ninho, and garlic. It doesn't work, does it, my child? It's just garlic. It's garlic and onion, really. Stop trying to be fancy and mixing it with milk.
Pitaya, right, Professor. To protect the body's cells.
Pitaya comes in 3 colors, right? 3 colors. And the layers of the onion, right? So, onions and garlic, as they're saying, natural antibiotic. Folks, it's very important. Onion and garlic. If you have a problem with this, you need to evolve and learn. Relearn how to eat. If you have a problem with onion and garlic, I'm telling you, you won't make it past the next pandemic. I'm serious. Another thing we really need is honey. Folks, honey has properties, real honey, true honey. A teaspoon of honey every day. I've already told Lenia that every day. The other day I made a dessert here with curd, honey, and cinnamon. Just that. The dessert was curd. Look at the dessert. Curd, honey, and cinnamon. And that's it. Did you like it, Raimundo? At least in this, right? To combat those cookies you eat. Eat garlic too, at least, so that's good.
The sun is high. The sun is high.
But an ex has to like garlic and onion, folks. Seriously? And it's not caramelized onion, okay? Because there's this thing about putting the American. You see now, it's going to start. You see that so many aspects of global geopolitics are changing that now there will be 70 years of law. There were 70 years of Marx. And now there will be 70 years of Marx. Today I was watching an interview with Gallipolo, the new president of the central bank, where he confessed that he learned about Marxism at PUC and that he couldn't stand Marxism anymore, which is the same as, like listening to a boring mass. So, I mean, for Lula there, he's smiling and saying he's a Marxist, but inside, he can't stand this Marxism thing anymore, the new president of the central bank. And why am I saying this, recording this in the class? 71? Because it's coming, even the return of Jesus. 70 years of the right. Do you understand me or not? Since 1940, it has been 70 years of Marx. Now, 70 years of Marx. But, Professor, it's not 2045. Enter the kingdom with the right. Kingdom 6 and 7. You have to understand one thing. In the United States, now, the Ministry of Health will discuss obesity for the first time. Fiat food. It's the first time in this Trump administration that it will start now. If you're watching later, it has been fulfilled. A worldwide discussion will start about why there are autistic children. 1 in every 100 American children is autistic. And autism didn't exist. It didn't exist. Not a single autistic child 30 years ago. So, we have to understand that something horrible is happening among us. There is something horrible happening among us. So, people are not taking it seriously. So if you have children after 30 years, if you have children after 40 years, sperm slow, they're already born with problems, various health problems, mental and biological. Then you understand that everything is wrong? So it's something that they are rethinking. And in the United States, now the Ministry of Health, which there is not called a ministry, but the health department, is going to study exactly this. They are going to start a whole scientific study on the issue of diet, cancer, what is affecting Americans. And here in Brazil, let's be honest. Out of every 10 young people you see, half are obese. Look on the street and see, half of the young people are all obese. So it's not even a matter of obesity, not obesity. It's not that. We're not here trying to. Yeah. The exted as Christians, nothing like that. What we're talking about is health. We have to be very careful to have more control. Especially you. You women, listen to what I'm saying. Do a sugar liberation work. Reduce, keep reducing. Sugar, birth control, and cigarettes. Cigarettes, don't even think about it, right? Don't even think about it. Or smoking electronic cigarettes, Viper, I don't know what. We have to say the following. Today, we are in a calamitous situation. If you don't listen to me, you will suffer a lot and make others around you suffer. And if you listen to me, you will testify here. I will meet you out there. You will go live here, and you will say how much my marriage improved, how much my life improved, my family changed, my work, my things. Your mood will change. If you, I won't have time here, but read about the harms of sugar. It's unbelievable. Heroin and cocaine are like candy compared to sugar. Sugar is the villain of all our mental misfortunes. Mental and physiological. You have no idea.
Professor. There's a very interesting video. It was recorded around the 1950s at a port where they spend about 15 minutes just filming the people passing by. And it's incredible how there's not a single obese person.
See? And here I bought that scale. And what happens? That special scale, right? And that scale, I'm doing some tests. With myself, the lab, with myself, and it's impressive, Clarice. I told Dr. Enrique, it's impressive. I did like this. My diet of salad meat, coffee without sugar, everything's great, and I can eat junk food comfortably with this new way I'm eating. Every 7 days, I eat junk food comfortably. There's no problem, none. A farm cookie is no problem, none. If I'm eating right every day, there's no problem. The problem is the excess. Now, these days now that there was a new recording session, I went there and overdid it just to see. I overdid it and had 2 chocolate drinks, that's all. Just 2 chocolate drinks. My weight changed immediately. For 2 days, my weight changed. The only thing I changed in all those days was the 2 chocolate drinks. Because that's what's incredible. When you consume ice cream, chocolate drinks, all those things we love, that's what takes longer to leave the body. It doesn't leave, it stays for a week and doesn't leave the body.
Professor, experts say that ice cream sometimes take longer than meat to leave our body. Around 5 days.
And here on the mothership, don't even think about sodas. We don't have it here. Our problems are other things, right? But that's it, folks. What I'm telling you is just for you to understand how much we have to think that God is in all things, that foods speak to us. I haven't even mentioned here about beans, for example, which are shaped like a kidney. So what is God saying? Like the bean. You see here on the mothership, there's the stonebreaker plant. The other day, I think it was Borneoto who said, Professor, your garden is beautiful, Bornaldo, you said, but there's the stonebreaker. Are you going to leave that stonebreaker there? I'm going to leave it. Because the stonebreaker is a little plant that shouldn't even be categorized as a weed. It's so important because it implodes the stone. It grows in the middle of nowhere with very little soil, and it breaks the stone. And what is it saying in the exercise of its life? If it can have the strength to break a stone, a sidewalk, that it breaks kidney stones. I mean, a tea made from it is so powerful that it's good for breaking kidney stones. I mean, look at what God is saying.
There was a student of yours who mentioned in the chat that she had a kidney problem. The professor recommended Stonebreaker, and shortly after, she testified that she passed it.
Professor, if you go to a doctor, a urologist, he won't admit it. That the Stonebreaker tea works.
That everyone is in their own ego.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it's ego, folks. What happens? The person graduates. Folks, being a doctor is a very complicated thing. Every time I've been in front of a doctor, right? Every time I've been in front of a doctor, with all due respect to doctors who are wonderful, but every time I have, if I go to a doctor and say, look, my problem, doctor, is COVID, that time it happened. No, 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 no. His ego already rises. I've been in this chair for 40 years. You have everything except COVID. Then I spent a ton of money, did everything, all the tests, went there several times, and when it was all over, he looked at me and said, it's your COVID index. It's really here, you have COVID. Afterwards, it took all that to confirm what I said, just because he didn't want to listen to me, because they don't accept that the patient has the right to say that. So it's something like that. It's the ego. Damn, ego. I graduated. It's like a theologian. If a theologian comes in here, what do you think will happen? Have you ever seen theologians come in here? What happened, right? Oh, because I spent 5 years studying, so. It's the human ego. Human beings should graduate to contribute, not to think about something here. Let's wrap up this class. And I want to invite all of you tomorrow for our eternal formation. 72 classes tomorrow. 72. After 3 classes of original sacred geometry, you are finally ready to understand the exactness of God's creation. With the second class, it's 2 in 1. Who created God? The big question. Tomorrow. 2 classes in 1. The last class. The eternal formation. Who created God? Look here. I think if you pay close attention, I hate that word. If you pay close attention. To what I said about binary pattern, you've already noticed that everything is a system, and that there's no escaping universal cosmology. Things are as they are. Let's stop with this nonsense of, oh, X is a system. Everything is a system. If you dismantle everything, take everything apart and say, let's gather where everyone does what they want, it will cause problems. And you, to fix these problems, will have to do what a Kel does. If you undid the X 13 years and said, I'm going to do the X my way, you would discover one thing. You would do it the same way I did. You have to go through the same things I went through. After you go through the first betrayal, the second disrespect, the third rudeness, the fourth betrayal, the 5th time, the 6th, you will look at me and say, Professor Akel, in fact, this is advice I always give. If you don't understand me, if you're a teacher, organizer, have a little problem with me, do this. Go out and set up an X for yourself. After a year, 2 years, I know it will take time because we don't have time anymore. In a year, 2 years, you will call me and say, Professor, this is what happened with many people. When I founded X, several said, I will do better. But none lasted until today. None succeeded. Because they will go through the same things, because human beings are all the same. Uniting human beings is going through the same path as Jesus, the same path as Paul. Then comes that song of mine that says, it is impossible for you to unite your church through gifts. But if you return to intervene in this place. And that's how it works. There's no way. Can you understand that there's no way? So don't criticize what you don't know. The truth is that the X is as it is. People are free and express who they are. And that's just how it is. Yesterday someone said to me, Professor, it would have been good if the no fear had been like this. I said, but then people wouldn't express who they were, what they thought, how they would be. Things were as they were. If I had interfered and chosen the teams, it wouldn't have been the way it was. Oh, it's a spoiler. There you go. Goodbye. 1260 missions of the sent emissaries. Because Paul is saying the following. When the Lamb unsealed, there's no rapture here. Here we have marks.